Hi everyone, Sean here for the WorldCupNow.com, bringing you your Barclays Fantasy Premier League tips for Game Week 25. Now today's subject, both in the post and in this video that you're currently watching, is going to be differentials. Now, sometimes you need to state the obvious, but a differential, by my definition, is a fantasy player that is going to be in your league, or in your team, that is going to help you jump the manager above you. Now, I'm going to go over what I look for in differentials, how I pick them out, and then I'm also going to do what I call an up-down analysis, and I'll pick a team out of the WorldCupNow.com site. I'll probably pick the number 3 team, just randomly, and kind of show you how I do an up-down analysis. I'll do it only going up, but the same principles can be applied, but only in reverse when you're looking at the team below you. So that being said, what I look for in a differential, there's a few criteria that I look for. 3 in particular, 4 if I'm going to be very picky. But the first one is kind of glaringly obvious, but it's ownership. And this ties in with my next segment. You do want to look at the fantasy teams around you, but in terms of ownership, you want to have something that, or a player that has around 12 or less % ownership. And I'll show you where you can find that out on the fantasypremierleague.com website. But that low ownership is going to kind of mean that not a lot of people have him, so when he does score, when he does get his points, they're going to have a bigger impact on your team if you have him in there. Now the second criteria I look for, and I just briefly touched on it, is form. If you pick up a guy and he's only getting 2 points, there's no advantage in that. You want to have someone who's on form that is going to get an assist or a goal, or is getting bonus points in terms of clean sheets for defenders. I mean, look at Adam Johnson. For me, he's been a great differential up until probably I'm going to drop him after this game week. But again, that first game week he kind of blew out. He got 22 points. So that kind of put him on the radar. The early adopters, if they took the risk, they would have got another 2 points. He had 2 back-to-back 22-point hauls, which is excellent, and he had very little ownership at that point. Now, this is when I came in. I got him that following week after that, and I've been rewarded with 2 8-point weeks. So you can see that form is a big indicator for differential. If you can get on it early, you'll get the bonus. The bonus increases in terms of acquisition. The more managers who get them try and catch that wave. They're going to increase that price, and you're going to be benefiting from that, and you get the points, obviously. So form is definitely key in terms of differentials. And touching on that, the third criteria is fixtures. Now, you don't want to pick someone up who just scored, but now the next 3-4 games they're going to have are against Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool. Teams that are going to be hard to get points from. That's not something you want to choose. You want to choose someone who's going to have a good run of fixtures. And that was the further touching on my Adam Johnson example. That was the reason why I'm getting rid of him. I've had him for the past 2 weeks. I'm going to have him again this week for his home fixture against Hull. So, and then I'm going to ditch him at least for 2 weeks because he's playing. I think it's Arsenal and Man United. So there's his run. You look for someone else. So with differentials, you're always trying to swap them out. You do want to give them a chance, but when their fixtures are done, you want to get rid of them. Now, the fourth and kind of a minor criteria that I'd look for is kind of the price. You want to keep people in the same price bracket because basically you're just taking one out, putting one in, and just swapping them out. So price does kind of factor into it, but not as much as form, fixtures, and ownership. Those are the 3 that I look for when I'm selecting my differentials. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to flip the screen over. I'm going to do a quick up-down analysis, but I'm going to do it one way, And as I said, I'm going to pick the third person, or the person who's in third in our worldcupnow.com league, and show you how I do that analysis. Okay, so I'm just on the worldcupnow.com fantasy league site, and as I said, I'm going to choose number 3, or the third player, Jamie Thompson, who just happens to be in third this week, and do an up-down analysis. So really, I need to go in and I need to educate myself because I don't know who he has, but obviously you would know who you have, so you can kind of skip this step, but I need to do it just because I need to assess who he has. And I'll do it in the midfield because that's where I'm finding a lot of differential opportunities. But you can see he's playing a 4-3-4 in terms of formation. Barkley, Lallana, Toure, Ozil, and then Sterling on the bench. So you would know this already. So basically what you're doing is you're going to go into the league that you want to jump someone. So you go into the worldcupnow.com league, and then you'd look at the fantasy manager above you, who is Matish, and assess who he has and where you need to fix and what you don't need to fix. From what I can see immediately, playing the same formation, 3-4-3, looking at his players, he has Cazorla, Navas, Johnson, Lallana, and Zaha. All very good picks as well. So let's begin assessing. The easiest thing that you can do is assess what you have in similar. Both of them have Lallana. So chop that, keep them the same. That's fine. You're going to match point for point. Now we'll go team for team. Cazorla versus Ozil and Toure versus Navas. Now, in my opinion, you're 1 for 1. Ozil, I think, is too expensive, and if you drop him for Cazorla, you're going to free up some funds, and then you could just kind of concentrate on the other two, and you have Cazorla and Lallana, that'll be the same. And then, you can concentrate on the other 3. Because with a Navas versus Toure, I feel you have the advantage. So I would keep that. So I would keep the Toure, downgrade Ozil to Cazorla, and then you're going to go one-on-one with Johnson and Barkley, and then Zaha and Sterling. Now, as I said earlier in the first segment, I'm going to be looking to drop Johnson because he's playing, it was Man City and Arsenal. So I'm going to keep him in for this fixture, and then I'm going to drop him. Now, is this what this manager is going to do? Possibly. But since you have Barkley, who's coming from injury, in my mind, I would look to say, okay, he's coming back from injury. Who can I replace him for someone who's going to be in form? Now, someone that I would choose and I have suggested as a differential, regrettably he already has, which is Zaha. Good run of fixtures. He's going to have a home and home with Villa and Hull. Already came back with an assist, so you can see that he's going to be used in the Cardiff squad. So that's when you go to your transfers page, and you would look to see, okay, so I did downgrade Ozil to Cazorla. I'm going to have some free funds now. What midfielders do I have? Those Ozil funds and the Barkley, you're probably going to be looking at someone in the 7 range. So you could maybe go for someone like Charlie Adam or Kevin Nolan. Again, using the criteria that I've specified in the first portion of that movie in this video, you can go through and you can check. Wilshere is supposed to be back apparently this weekend. So, that would be a really, really early adopter. I would probably look at getting him after these 2 games, because then you go, there's my third point. Fixtures, he is on form, come back from injury, trying to get him and catch him. Well, the form's not there and the fixtures aren't there. So I would leave out Jack Wilshere. Look at Charlie Adam. It's one that I suggested in the post, and you can see why. But again, fixtures, it would be a 2-run fixture. Let's see if maybe we can skip that city. Well, no. In my opinion, it's already too late. Because looking at Charlie Adam, he had Crystal Palace, Sunderland, and Man United. And then he's going Southampton, Swansea. So really, the opportune moment would have been to get him at Crystal Palace. And then, 18 points over 3 games isn't bad. and then you got another 2 against relatively mid-table teams, and that's probably going to yield him some points as well. So again, use those criteria to choose who you think is going to be a good differential for you. I can't really do it. I can imitate it, but I can't really do it because you know who you have. You know what your team value is, and use those criteria that I've outlined to select differentials. So in that way, you can see, what the managers have above you. You can see if they're on form, if they have a good run of fixtures, and if it's something that's going to help you jump managers. Because that's what we all want to do, isn't it? We just want to jump the manager in front of us and keep until we're number 1. And then we can have all the bragging rights. Hopefully you found this video a little bit interesting, a little bit informative, and you can at least take something maybe new out of it. But again, visit the site. There's 3 or 4, maybe 5 midfield differentials that I pointed out this week that maybe you can swing into your team. And on that note, I wish you good luck, and I will see you next game week.